Religion has long been held as a pillar of moral guidance, community, and individual purpose. But from an atheist perspective, it is equally crucial to recognize the darker side of religious influence, how it has historically been used as a tool to colonize, oppress, enslave, and brutalize entire populations. This is not an indictment of individual believers, but rather a critique of how institutions have wielded religious doctrine as a weapon to achieve social, economic, and political dominance. One of the clearest examples of religion's role in oppression is its use in colonial expansion. During the age of exploration, Christian missionaries were often at the forefront of colonial efforts, operating under the banner of a civilizing mission. In the Americas, Africa, Asia, and Oceania, colonizers sought to convert indigenous populations, rationalizing its effort to save souls from paganism or idolatry. The underlying logic was that non-Christian lives were less valuable, allowing colonizers to seize lands, resources, and people with moral impunity. The Doctrine of Discovery, a legal framework issued by Pope Alexander VI in 1493, gave European Christians the right to claim lands inhabited by non-Christians. It underscored a powerful message. Conversion or subjugation was not just permissible, but righteous. For atheists, the theological rationale reflects a disturbing conflation of faith and imperialism, where religion became the means to justify theft and violence on an enormous scale. Religions, particularly Christianity, have also been deeply complicit in slavery. In the Americas, European colonizers justified the enslavement of African people with biblical passages using scripture as a mechanism to subjugate, control, and dehumanize. Texts from both the Old and New Testaments were selectively interpreted to paint Africans as inferior or even biblically ordained servants to whites. Throughout the transatlantic slave trade, religious leaders often preached that slavery was a God-given institution and that enslaved individuals could find spiritual salvation in servitude. While abolitionist movements later merged within Christian circles, the role of religion in upholding and justifying slavery remains undeniable. From an atheist perspective, this highlights the malleability of religious doctrine to justify horrific practices when politically or economically convenient. Religion has not only justified the subjugation of entire nations, but also reinforced systems of oppression within communities, often with enduring impacts. Women, for instance, have been historically relegated to subservient roles under religious teachings that declare them inferior or inherently sinful. In Christianity, passages from the Bible, such as those in 1 Timothy and Ephesians, prescribe roles of obedience and submission for women, effectively barring them from leadership and agency. This idea seeps into cultural norms and laws, from reproductive rights to limitations on women's roles in society, creating barriers that persist even today. The persecution of LGBTQ+ individuals is another area where religion has been weaponized to oppress. Many major religions label non-heteronormative identities as sinful or unnatural, fostering environments where discrimination and violence against LGBTQ+ individuals are not only tolerated but encouraged. From an atheist point of view, such rigid dogmas reinforce social hierarchies and deny people the right to live freely, all under the guise of divine will. The brutalization of those deemed other by religious authorities is a tragic but well-documented phenomenon. In the Crusades, the Inquisition, and numerous holy wars, religion became an instrument for systemic violence. Millions have been tortured, executed, or otherwise brutalized simply for adhering to a different belief system, political stance, or ethnic identity. The Spanish Inquisition, for example, sought to purge non-Christians, particularly Jews and Muslims, from Spanish society through brutal methods of torture and execution. In many cases, religious authorities framed violence as an expression of the divine will, giving rise to a culture where dissent became a punishable offense. Religious leaders, convinced of their doctrinal correctness, mandated conformity through fear, leading to unspeakable atrocities across the continents and centuries. From an atheist point of view, such acts reveal the dangers of dogmatic systems that position themselves as beyond question, beyond reproach, and beyond reason. Critics of religion argue that, even today, many of these oppressive legacies remain deeply embedded in societies worldwide. While modern believers may not personally advocate for colonization, slavery, or exclusion, the institutions they support continue to exert influence over policy, culture, and education in ways that often marginalize or oppress. Atheism, with its emphasis on secularism, advocates for a world where ethical and moral decisions are made through reason, empathy, and a universal respect for human rights, free from religious justification. A secular perspective acknowledges that morality does not require religious sanction, that people can and do make ethical decisions without divine guidance. By removing the religious rationale for violence, subjugation, and exclusion, a secular framework offers a way to build societies based on mutual respect rather than divisive dogma. Moving forward, it is crucial to reevaluate the role of religion in shaping laws and norms. While religious freedom remains a fundamental right, so too is the right to question how religious institutions have perpetuated systems of control. Recognizing the historical misuse of religion as a tool of oppression is not an attack on faith itself, but a call for accountability and progress. For atheists, this means championing a world where human rights are respected not because of divine edict, but because of a shared commitment to justice and equality.